There's no shortage of knife talk here on 411 Outdoors. And every so often I'll make more than one video about certain blades because they're just a more than one video kind of knife. A while back I did a YouTube short on a Smith Wesson blade that's quite a staple, and that short was just not enough. So we're going to go full length video on this one. Stick around. Double-edged blades are quite popular because of their combative effectiveness. And there are good ones from budget to not so budget. And one of the top selling double-edged budget blades out there is the H.R.T. from Smith Wesson. And I gotta tell you, I'm a big fan of this blade. You can take one look at this and see why it's such a top seller. I'll give you 7 definitive reasons. Number 1, it's very inexpensive. You can get this thing for 20 bucks or just maybe a little bit more. I haven't seen anything to match this knife at that price point. Number 2, it's got a really good size to it. With the size though, we've got to talk about the dilemma of whether or not this is a good carry. So this is primarily a boot knife. You can also do a solid pocket carry, or you could carry it on your belt if you want to carry this openly. Most places that even allow you to have a blade like this are going to require open carry anyway. When I think about knives like this one and the counterattack from cold steel, I typically don't walk around in the daytime out in town with a big blade like that on my side, but I do go walking at night a lot. I go out for night walks. There's dogs around, there's people around. I will a lot of times strap a good sized blade on my side for a walk like that. And a blade like this is just good company in times like that. 3, perfect handle construction, total reinforcement for your hand. 4, a nice looking powder coated blade. 5, it excels in slicing or piercing. This one came razor sharp out of the box. Number 6, it comes with a really nice sheath for its price point. Number 7, it's got that get down to business combat tactical knife look that people want. In this review, I also want to do a side-by-side comparison to another heavy-hitting budget blade in the double-edged world, and that is the counterattack from cold steel. Now, looking at both of these blades side by side, they're roughly the same length. The counterattack may be a little bit longer, and there's a difference in steel. This is 7CR17, and I do believe this is AUS-8 steel. Now, all in all, your counterattack is a little bit more solid, obviously, a little bit stronger. The thing is, though, I am not a big fan of the chisel grind on the counterattack. I think that's what kind of ruins it for me with this knife, whereas I love the grind on the H.R.T. By the way, that stands for Hostage Rescue Team. If I had to choose between these two knives, and if I had it to do all over again, I would go with the H.R.T., and I'm going to tell you why. For one, the grind. I like the grind a whole lot better. It's a lot sharper. There wasn't a whole lot I could do with my counterattack when I was out here testing other than just pierce stuff, but this H.R.T. is a piercing and a slicing machine. 2, chisel grind is a very tricky sharpen. Now, keep this in mind. With a blade like this, you shouldn't have to sharpen it all the time. This is not your bushcraft knife. This is not your knife that you take out in the woods and bushcraft with. I mean, you can if you want to, but I would get something stronger if you're going to do that. At least a strong arm or something like that, or an SRK. You're not going to be sharpening these blades all the time. You're keeping this on your side for that oh crap moment when somebody tries to put their hands on you, or if your life is in danger. To each is their own, but I do prefer the Smith Wesson sheath to the Secure-X counterattack sheath. One may say, dude, that counterattack is so much more solid than that H.R.T., and I would not disagree with that argument. Nevertheless, I believe the H.R.T. is strong enough for what it is. Now, I'm not going to do a Joe X test on this. Some of his reviews are fun to watch, but, I'm not going to typically be stabbing this through the hood of a car. This is going to go into an assailant. And I do not believe this is a one-and-done knife. I believe this is strong enough, even if you would collide with bone or something solid. Retention is nice in this sheath. It's no wiggle room. You got to give it a tug to get it out of there. It fits in nice and snug. One would even argue that the deployment on this would be a little slow, but with this, you're popping this at the same time and deploying, so it's plenty quick. Now, the counterattack is in there good and well. This is pretty much just a yank kind of sheath. I guess you could push against the side here if you wanted to thumb deploy a little bit like a lot of people do with the Coban, but again, just very equal on the sheaths. I just like that leather one a little bit better. The one thing about the counterattack though is it's got some grooves to where if you wanted to do like a behind the back grab, you could probably set up a modification for that. That's one advantage of this one. What it all comes down to is one's going to cost you about $23 and the other would cost you, $50 or more. Yeah, it may be a little more solid in its construction, but the reason why so many people choose to buy an H.R.T. and the reason why it's such a bestseller is because of how much they're getting for their money. As always, I like to provide links in the description section of the video for you to go out and pick one up. I think you'll like it. If you're shopping for a double-edged blade, I don't think you'll be let down when you get that H.R.T. in the mail. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to catching you next time. Take care.